welcome to Reality Tea Times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I'm Tanika, and today we are going to be doing another episode for our Christmas break, and that is Temptation Island. So, Temptation Island, basically how we're doing this, I was planning to split this into two episodes, 4 and 4. Well, actually three, I think, 4 and 2. But these episodes are actually, I'm finding I'm writing a lot down. So we're going to be doing 5 episodes. So 2 in each episode. That's the plan. So without further ado, let's just jump right in. So episode 1 of Temptation Island. So we see the helicopters coming in and I'm like, wow, this is, wow, this is a lot. So we're going to meet the couples at this point. So we have Grant and Ashley. They've been together for 1.5 years. We have Brian and Shantae. They've been together for 1 year, and I wrote he's hot. But then he started to not grow on me so much. But anyways, we have Alexa and Lino. They've been together the longest, 3.5 years. She wants an engagement, and he is obviously maybe a little more hesitant because he said that his longest relationship has only been 3 months. Um, I feel like that says a lot when you're in your 20s, and I think, I don't know, how old he is. Is he the youngest? He's 25? Okay, then maybe that's not crazy to only have a 3-month relationship, but I still even think a 3-month relationship is kind of not that long. Um, when you're in your early to mid 20s, at least 9 months to a year, you should be kind of somewhere around there because I feel like if you're having like 3-month relationships at this age, they're just they're just fun relationships and not serious. Anyways, then we meet Tyler and Taylor. Why? I'm sorry. There's just certain names of people who should not be together, like Taylor and Jesus. We're gonna have problems with these two. Okay, Taylor and Tyler. So, anyways, they've been together for 2.5 years. So we have our host. His name is Mark Wahlberg. No, guys, not that Mark Wahlberg. Mark L. Wahlberg. And I actually think I like him more. Yeah. Anyways, they're going to be moving into separate villas. So there's going to be these 4 quote unquote singles being alone in these villas with 12 other singles waiting for them. And then basically, they do say that people will meet up at the bonfires, but I do see a bonfire coming up and it looks like the men and the women are separated. So I guess maybe the final one will be, or maybe they'll, scattered in there. I'm not sure. But anyways, we're kind of learning more about the struggles with each couple. So Grant and Ashley, so they have a fun life together, they say, but there's trust issues. Because a month into them being together, he cheated on her, and I felt triggered because that was my experience with my boyfriend when we first started dating, which was like 8 years ago at this point. Within 3 weeks to a month, and he was cheating on me with his ex-girlfriend. That didn't go well for him. We'll leave it there, though. Anyways, she apparently, once she found out, I think the girl told her that she was hooking up with him, she left for Greece for a week, and he followed her to Greece in order to win her back, which feels like a little huff bomby. It's a little like, oh my God, I love you so much. I'm gonna fly to Greece to win you over. Like, that's what it feels like when he gets you. He's not gonna keep the same energy. Or at least, not even so much keep the same energy. I don't need you to keep the same energy. I need you to follow through with that energy. 9 times out of 10, they don't. And we also find out that he does have a daughter as well. So Alexa and Lino, this is a little bit more, y'all. Let's buckle up. So they met at the gym and they were kind of eyeing each other, they're interested. And one time he, I guess, got a little distracted and he dropped a barbell on himself and he had to go to the hospital. Can you imagine if you're Alexa in that moment? I'm sorry if people who have Alexas, but if you have an Alexa in if you're Alexa in this moment and you see this guy that you seem to be kind of digging and he drops a barbell on himself and has to like go to the hospital, he probably like he's being rolled out on a stretcher. Like, you know what I mean? He does say that he ended up going back and said, listen, that was an off day for me. Okay. That usually doesn't happen. Um, And she says that they're kind of at this plateau, though. She wants marriage. She wants the whole thing. They've been together for 3.5 years, so that's understandable. And she feels like it's this, they're comfortable in this, or this, say him, he's comfortable in the situation where he's at. He doesn't need to, feels like he doesn't need to move anywhere, or has this relationship reached its max? She said that she is a travel nurse who she delivers babies. I think that's amazing. And he will travel with her. He will relocate to whatever city that she is told she needs to be in. But he does say that moving is tough. So there's clearly some resentment with him moving constantly for her. They've moved to 3 different cities. So yeah, that's a lot. We do find out that she was married at 21. She was only married for a year. But she was with her now ex-husband since she was 15 years old. So they were together for quite some time. He says, well, Alexa told me that she was exclusive with me, but she was also exclusive with another guy. Wait. Call me crazy, but if someone says I'm exclusive with you, that usually means it's you and only you, not I'm exclusive with Tom, Dick, and Harry at the same time. That's not exclusivity. That's just you're playing the field. Listen, there was a movie about this with Mandy Moore, and I can't remember the one guy she was dating, but she was also dating Harvey from Suits. I don't remember his name right now, Gabrielle something. Anywho's great movie. It was a decent movie. Um, Someone else was in that too. What's her name? Doesn't matter. Anyway, so he does hold on to resentment for the lack of exclusivity. So more on, I guess, them later. Breon and Shantae. So basically how they met, his friend told him that she needed help with finances. He's like, great, that's what I do. He does it for a living. So he's like, and then she was in my bed that night. I mean, damn. Let me help you with your finances. Oh, let me also help you with an orgasm. What is happening? Um, he says, like, he is a flirt, maybe a big one. So he charmed the pants right off of her. He didn't take the relationship seriously initially, which again, let's remind everybody they've only been together for a year. Um, so he didn't take it seriously to the point where he actually left her and went to another woman. And then when that clearly didn't work out, he went back to her because, oops, grass isn't actually greener on the other side. I had some buyer's remorse. I again felt triggered because my boyfriend did that too. So I'm just like, I'm watching this show thinking I'm just gonna have, some, you know, have some fun with this. Yike. Now, me and my boyfriend have come a very long way, but it's just like, Yikes. So he has had, multiple women, threesomes, and threesomes is going to come up again. And he says that he wants her to be more sexual towards him. This is another thing he'll constantly kind of talk about. And again, I've only watched, I think, 3 episodes, and I haven't fully gone through. If I'm on the third, I didn't fully finish it yet. But yeah, he constantly will talk about her lack of sexuality. Um, I guess it's even being free with him. Because I mean, again, like I think some women can be reserved, you know, I'm a lady in the streets type situation. But I mean, if you feel like you can't be all out there with your man, like, then who can you be like that with? But I feel like I'll dig more into it later, but I wonder if this is really who she is. She's very conservative and all things, or if she's holding back because she doesn't trust him. If she's holding back because she hasn't always felt like enough for him. Why give all of myself to you when you're just going to disappoint me? I do wonder. I'm just saying, throwing it out there. So he does say that the next step is moving in together. So guess we'll see if they can get there. Their next couple and our final couple, who we're going to dig deep with here, is Taylor and Tyler. So they met at her job. Her friend is actually friends with his now ex-wife. So we have another person who's been married before. They started dating 4 months after his split, so he was legally married still, which I'm not, I know some people might have issue with, oh, you're still like legally married, so you shouldn't be, I don't, listen, I've been there, done that. I dated while still legally married, but I was separated. So it's like, and he did too. So it's just like, you can't wait all the time for the paperwork to come through. Because I mean, my divorce took about 2 years until it was finalized. So it, you can't wait for that. You gotta live your life. So I don't even care about that part. But she says something as, I got my education. She bought a house. Like she's leveling up. Meanwhile, while she says, is quitting his job. He's only now making money while modeling. She doesn't have the security she wants. She doesn't feel safe. And this is when we talk about a month in. He also seemed to have, quote unquote, cheated on her, but he kissed another girl like nothing else happened. He knew this person at the gym. Now, I can understand feeling upset in the moment, even maybe upset, beyond that a little bit. It's been, 2.5 years these two have been together. It was just a kiss. I mean, maybe there comes a point in time where you have to let that go. Even with, a person cheating on you a month into a relationship, there's a point in time where you have to let that go. And even, a month in and, Alexa's not being exclusive, really and truly, that's still only a month in or whatever time it was. And you gotta learn to let that go. That's the thing. Like, I can joke about things of, oh, my boyfriend did this, this, and this. I can joke about those things now because we've worked through them. My one big thing in getting back together was taking the time to work on the relationship, to work on, any resentment, any anger. That's what I wanted, and we did it. And you have to take that time to get there. And you're not going to do yourself any good or the relationship any good if you're holding on to those types of things that are so early on and so minor, in my honest opinion. Like, you're not going to get anywhere. There was no point in continuing the relationship, basically. um so she's like, I thought I never had to worry about that with him. Why did you think you didn't have to worry about that with him? I mean, personally, I think like you can be optimistic and hopeful that this guy will be different. chances are, realistically, he ain't. You know what I mean? I think what are like, my question is, what are your grounds for thinking he's gonna be different? What is it about him that you think? Like, I know she had the history with him because somewhat because they were friends prior to anything happening, but why? Anyway, he explains that he got married at 18. His ex-wife was 19. So, he got married young. I guess maybe he felt like his his early days of kind of fucking around and finding out was kind of stolen from him. And maybe I can understand that. So Mark Wahlberg here asks, so are there any rules for, the couples here? What are said rules? So Ashley says no touching. Taylor says no physicality. So what does that mean? Because physicality is pretty broad. No touching, no kissing, no cuddling, obviously sex, but like where does the physicality line like begin and when does it end? You know what I mean? Anyway, um, they kind of say, which I think like they've literally practiced with each other this particular line that comes next. He says, like, I'm not here to explore physically. And she says, like, she's good. She don't need nothing. Okay. Shantae says no physical stuff. He says that he likes to have sex. That's clear. And it's like with her, Jesus, relax. I meant with her. Do you know? Because you've already complained that she's not sexual enough for you, and you will continue to complain that she's not sexual enough for you. So do you really? Anyway, Alexa and Lena say, no, there's no rules. Have fun. Do what you gotta do. Find whatever perspective you need to find, which I think seeing shows like this, like Temptation Island, like The Ultimatum, it's, yeah, I think you need to go in with an open mind and be like, you can't come into this with expectation or rules because I feel like you're then just going to rob yourself of the experience. Anyway, now it's time to meet the F boys and the F girls. I mean, the tempters and the temptresses. Okay. So the women, they're coming out first. Everyone looks hot. Um, and I wrote, why is everyone in red? Is that on purpose? Yes, it is. Brian, is like, I'm getting into trouble. I'm getting into trouble. Then they take their wraps off, and I think I saw a man splurge on himself when that happened because he's like, oh my God. One of them, I can't remember which one it was, if it was Ashley or Taylor, but one of them's like, which one's your favorite, baby? The idiot answers the question, no, sir. You're literally like, um, you, babe, you're my favorite. You don't actually answer and say, oh, the one in the red. I see what I did there. But you know what I mean? Before I get to the next group here, before I get to the guys, I'm going to drop this in here and I will explain further. There was someone in the group of temptresses that was very familiar. And I caught it and I'm like, wait a minute, I recognize you. And it's funny because I've listened to, I was expecting Cray Cray to talk about this whatsoever because I know they didn't watch the particular show I'm thinking. But there was another show that I listened to that covered the first two episodes, which was Reality Gaze. They covered it on their Patreon. I'm surprised they didn't catch it. But then I started trying to remember, oh, wait a minute, I don't know if they covered past a certain point. So I was going to give them the benefit of the doubt here. But I was surprised I didn't catch it. But I did. But I will explain in a minute. We're not there yet. Then the guys come out and they are all hot too. Then the shirts rip open and their bodies are, wow. I mean, damn. And then I wrote, using danger, girls, using danger. Because I mean, oh boy, I mean that one there, Geo, what's called Geo? Oh my god! And the other one there, like the black guy, or one of the black guys. Then there's like, they're all hot. Who am I kidding? Oh, okay. So these 24 singles are here for one reason and one reason alone: to fuck shit up. I mean, tempt you because, yeah. And then we're at that point because they're now doing like individual people now at this point. And whoever the singles like, they're supposed to give them like a bracelet, which again felt very F Boy Island in a sense. And with that in mind, one of the women, I don't know if anyone else got it, is Mia from F Boy slash F Girl slash Lovers and Liars. I was like, oh, so this is your life now. So for those who don't know, I have covered Lovers and Liars, and F Boy Island. I don't think I covered the first season because I don't think I was podcasting at that point. But I think there were 3 seasons of F Boy Island, and then the one season of Lovers and Liars, which was the women or the men in the forefront. Um, so Mia was on season 2. She was one of the women. Um, and like, yeah, one of the women, duh. And she was really into, um, I can't remember his name right now, but when I explained it to Ava, she definitely knew who I was talking about. Um, the little Asian boy who was an F boy. He's kind of like the first guy that was like in limbo. Um, and then when that didn't work out, or she wanted that to work out, she was also kind of into, and I also cannot remember his name, but he's been back as well on F Boy. He came back in the last season. Um, she was into him, and he was the one that was, he was an F Boy. The first season he was there, and he was actually had dated Angelina very briefly from Jersey Shore. So then she came back in season 3. I can't remember the capacity of what she came back, but she definitely came back in season 3. Um, and then she was on Lovers and Liars. She was one of the women there too, and she turned out to be an F girl. Good for she. Seems like she's still riding that rave. So, yeah, one of the girls who comes into this, who's kind of doing like their one-liner thing, she's like, my guilty pleasure is sucking dick. And I said, wait, what? Okay, if that is a guilty pleasure, then I'm fucking guilty. Like, what? What? I feel like when you say something like my guilty pleasure, you're thinking sweets, or I might even push it to like a TV show, because I feel like, especially when Jersey Shore was around, a lot of people would say, oh, my guilty pleasure is Jersey Shore, or watching Jersey Shore. Sucking dick, that's not a guilt. I'm not guilty. I am not. I don't feel guilty. I am not guilty. I am. I'm doing the Lord's work. You know what I mean? I don't classify that as a guilty pleasure. It's just pleasure. My guilty pleasure is sucking dick. Wow. Okay. Breon's weakness, he says, is the booty. So he's an ass man. One of them says, I can't wait to blow you. Pause. 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 Another pause. Your mind. Okay, girl. One other one says, I would love, or this is how the guys now, the guys are coming in doing their thing. And the guy's like, I would love to stretch you ladies out. And he's a personal trainer. I think it might be Geo. Um, and Grant says, oh, she's already stretched. And she's like, what the fuck? Because he's trying to be like, oh, my girl's fine. She's already loosey-goosey. That didn't sound good either. She's already like, I already, did the workout. She's fine. She's good. When it comes across as, oh, her vagina's already stretched out. He didn't realize he's an idiot. Another one says, I will fill all of your holes that your man can't. Sir, there's only three. There's there's really, I mean, there's more, I guess, but ideally there's only three. And yeah, anyway, Ashley Ashley got 6 bracelets out of 12. Wow, she's popular. So then the couples, before splitting, have some alone time to connect before the bullshit happens. And Taylor is the only one, because the others are like, oh my God, I'm gonna miss you, blah, blah, blah. And Taylor has a complete meltdown about having to constantly prove herself, which I can kind of, I can understand that's stressful. And she says, and this is true, when one of the girls came up to him, and I don't remember what her thing was, and he called her dear. And when he did, Taylor's like, "What the fuck you say? Why are you calling her dear? Like, what's wrong with you?" Like, you could tell it pissed her off. So in this moment when she's having her meltdown, it's like, I mean, you called a girl dear, like, bra? Like, what the fuck? Like, Jesus Christ. And he literally says, like, this could potentially be the last conversation we have for a bit, and you're melting down, which I don't know. I don't know. So then Mark comes back and he's like, all right, so this is it. This is goodbye. Y'all need to split up now, ladies. You're staying here. This is your villa. Men, we have somewhere else for you to go. Everyone will be alone tonight, so these singles will not be in the house with them. Um, so that gives them a chance to recoup from the day, from splitting away from their partner, and then they'll get into it the next day. And once the singles have moved in, they will have to pick their first date. So the next day, Mark comes to the guy's house and he is like, we have some surprise guests. Don't worry, guys, it's just the women. So, like, they're women. So let's bring the men so you can pick your dates. So the men come out and the women pick up their dates. And, or they will be picking out, I will say who their dates are. And when they say that the men are coming out, I can't remember again who it was. Might have been Grant, but he's like, "Are they gonna have the shirts off again, or like what?" Yeah, because you're insecure because your body does not look like that. Anyway, they one of them actually says, "Oh, they got small dicks. I can see it. They got small dicks." How do you know? Like, how do you know? And listen, some guys may have small, soft penises, but when it's hard, it grows a lot. Like, it's like magic. So, I don't know. Anyways, so guess who they pick? Alexa picks Quentin. He's like a light skinned guy. He's like 30. I think he's the oldest guy there. He's 36. He's cute. Um, Taylor picks her guy. Um, It's her turn, and when they say her name, my girl had a hop, skip, jump in her step. She's ready to go. She went to bed being like, I'm tired of not being chosen. And then today she's like, let's get this show rolling. Jeez. So she picks Chris. I can't remember who he is, but I said he was cute. So Shantae picks Sheem, who is a cutie. And then Ashley picks Logan. He's a baby, y'all. He is 22 years old, but 6'5", and there is going to be another 22-year-old in the group. I think I pointed him out, but I can't remember. So he told Grant the day before when they're meeting everybody, like, you messed up. Like, you brought your girl here and you messed up, which I think rubbed him the wrong way that was even said to him in the first place. But anyways, now the guys are next. They're going to be picking their dates. Lino picks Natalie, who's his brunette. She's pretty, whatever. Tyler picks Courtney, which I was actually kind of surprised by. She's a black woman and Tyler is not, and well, also not a woman. So it was a little bit surprising. And I guess maybe the reason I also say it's surprising was because for Taylor it was also surprising. She's like, I'm shocked. But I think it's great. And because she for sure thought that he was gonna pick somebody different. Um, so anyway, Brian picks Mia and then Grant picks Olivia. He's like, I'm a Leo and we're like crazy and want to be the center of attention. I'm like, great, there we go. Um, Grant is like, I am shocked that Ashley picked arrogant. Says this out loud. And I loved this because in this moment, she's like, well, you're kind of arrogant, so I picked you, I guess. Clearly, I have a type situation. And you can tell he is arrogant. And then he says some shit about how he should be comfortable in his skin, like saying this about the guy she picked. It's like, again, you don't know this person from Adam. You're just out here saying some shit because you feel threatened. But again, like you came here, no one forced you. So that's episode 1. Let's move on to episode 2. So they're going to be doing a group date. So no one's going to be on their own with the people. Brian is like, so Amia is more outgoing than Jante is. He's like, I want her to have a little bit of that, oomph. He wants that. And he's basically saying without saying that she's boring. That's basically what's happening here. So the guys are going on a boat. The boat is just doing the most. No, thank you. They end up going into the water to see the manta rays, which was really cool. I did find like their date was a little bit more fun. The women have just been talking about, you know, the men and their relationships and why they're here. And then we see some dancing, and that's basically it. The men end up heading back to the villa. And there's this girl named Kay, and she needs to chill out because she's literally like, I always get attention. Like, does that much I really have to do? And I was like, girl, Kay, you have like a rocking body, but I mean, you're cute, but you're not like ridiculously beautiful. I'm just saying. So you can calm down. And all the women, when they get there, the men get there, all wearing lingerie. Why? Y'all don't know these people. Like, I know you're all here supposed to be tempting. I get it, but like, damn. So basically, it's a party at their villa, like a party. Shots are happening. There's body shots happening. Brianna's getting really into it, taking body shots. His shirt ends up coming off at one point. Someone, I think 2 people, and one of them was actually Mia, caught a second time, was licking chocolate sauce off of his neck. Damn, girl. There is some whipped cream involved. I'm like, okay, so there's a lot of food happening. It's being put on Lino. So, I mean, y'all, the women, however, are now at their villa. And I wrote here, oh my God, it's another 22-year-old. His name is Danny. And I'm like, it's too young, way too young. And Ashley is into Danny. She needs to be into the younger people. They're like, oh, she's a little bit of a cougar. Maybe she is. Meanwhile, the women are just talking about themselves, talking about their situations, which is fine, that's all good. But they're also talking about the men, and Taylor is like, I mean, he won't put the toilet seat down. Like, why do I have to, like, force him or make him put the toilet seat down? Like, it's little things. You're really complaining about him not putting the toilet seat down. Like, I get it's annoying, but you're really complaining about the fact that he won't put the toilet seat down. I mean, maybe I'm just not giving enough sympathy because my man actually will put the toilet seat down, but I'm just like, really? Anyways, this new chick he went on a date with, which was, I think, Lino, and I can't remember who he went on a date with now, is really asking the tough 21 questions. Again, it is only day, what, 2? Like, calm down. Um, the next day now, Ashley's having a little bit of a moment. She's like, Grant has put her through shit. She says that he is the type who overpromises but then underdelivers. And he has probably always done that in relationships. And then all of a sudden, Alexa now is kind of putting her 2 cents into everything in her situation and talks about, never really truly being single. Like she clearly struggles to be on her own. And she says, I need to learn how to not need him. I mean, I have my shit together. She has this, that, and the other. She's like, I really don't need him. Ugh. Yeah, I'll hold on to that. That's circling back a little later. Lino talks to Mia about how he's harbored resentment about being a second choice. Again, this is something that happened like in the beginning of the relationship. It's done. It's over. I understand that you know, struggles with the lack of exclusivity, but I mean, my guy, Brian says, I love Shantae. But, she's not the freakiest person or the most sexual person, which clearly that's something he wants. And he goes as far to say, like, listen, I love a good threesome. Okay, but again, you do need to learn to grow up because no one is going to necessarily continue doing threesomes in throughout a relationship. It comes a time where you have to kiss that part of your life goodbye. Doesn't mean you still can't be freaky in the bedroom with your woman. Doesn't mean that you can't, try new things or whatever with your woman, but threesomes are probably not going to happen more than once, if even that. So Courtney asks, like, don't you want the best of both worlds? And he says, but you can't have both. And they both say, of course you can. Hell yeah, you can. Which I agree. Yes, you can. I am going to hold you accountable. I'm going to be all of that. But at the same time, I'm going to rock your damn world. You know what I mean? And of course, you can have best of both worlds. Um, so Shantae is not talking to Taylor about being the second choice because, as if we remember, he was with her, left her, went to this other woman. That didn't work out, so he went back to her. Yeah. She basically says like him doing that was disheartening, which I definitely I get that. Tyler goes on a date with Kay. This is separate from obviously the other dates. They're going to a gelato shop. And he says, Taylor thinks that she knows me, but I have been feeling unappreciated. So now there's going to be a pool party at the girls' villa. Then Alexa says, someone give me a lap dance. And one of the black dudes, I can't remember which one, ends up giving her a lap dance. And yeah. And then, yeah, Yaman ends up giving a lap dance to Ashley. So basically, everyone's just getting, you get a lap dance and you get a lap dance. Everybody gets a lap dance. Then there's another party at the guys' villa. They're too doing lap dances. We got some twerking. We got, situation here. But then in comes Kay. And she's like, I got this. Got shit in the bag. But she's like shaking her butt. Then she's twerking. And I'm pretty sure Tyler's like, boing. Like he's just ready to go. Um, and then Tyler, after her little situation, gives her a tour of his room. Why? I thought I mean they don't have rules, but it's just like why? Anywho, oh no, do they have no, they do have rules. And I think one of the rules, the biggest rule was no physicality. So the guys are alone watching. Oh, so sorry, I'm going ahead here. So they're, yeah, I went ahead here. Um, the next day in walks Mark, and he pulls the guys aside to tell them, so tonight is the night that you're not going to be feeling all right because we're going to be doing the first bonfire of the season. So basically, this is why I was confused. I'm like, oh, don't they come together? No. So the men are going to do their thing alone, and then the women are going to do their thing alone. So the men are here first. They're doing theirs. And the first clip that shows up is Ashley talking about Grant and how he acts like this is okay, yeah, so he says like, so yeah, sorry, I'm getting confused. So the clip is basically how he acts like this is in all relationships and I don't trust him and how I don't want that. And Grant basically says, well, I hope she can grow and that she can get there, basically making it about she needs to make these changes. She is the problem. She. Like, he's not thinking about me. And Mark says as well, he's like, I hear, she is, she. What about you? Like, where do you fit into this? The next clip is Shantae dancing on the date, but I know it's not much to it. It's not that bad. And he says, like, okay, I see her having fun. I don't see an issue. I'm glad he didn't touch her ass when she was dancing. So he doesn't see anything wrong. But I tend to agree. He says, like, I'm just glad that he didn't touch her ass. Basically, that's what I want to see. I feel like she's always attached at the hip with me. I want her to have her own life, which is problematic if, like, she's basically Sammy from Jersey Shore when she was with Ron. Like, no one wants that. And he goes on to say, I also want her to be more sexual because I am sexual. And I feel like I lower myself for her, which definitely you shouldn't be doing. You shouldn't have to be doing any of that. Anyway, the men are done. Then we have the women. The women are now here, the men are gone. So now we have Alexa. Or sorry, no, the men are still here. Sorry, the men are still here. Um, we have Alexa saying, I really don't need him. And Lino says, that's news to me. She came here wanting to be engaged, and was the one that needed the clarity. But now she doesn't even need me. I can definitely understand the questions and confusion with that. Um, she just starts talking about like all of these accomplishments, but she wouldn't have even done that without me, he says. It's like I pushed her. And Mark has some amazing advice in this moment. He says, or actually, I don't think I caught what he said, but I did notice like he's like a therapist, y'all. um, now I think the movie guys are now, or maybe I'm just incorrect. Anyways, Taylor is basically saying he had the infidelity. He walked away from the job. He hasn't worked in 10 years or minutes, I don't even know. Then that damn toilet seat. So when he basically hears her bring up the whole toilet seat situation, he's fuming. It's like, I'm not thoughtful because I didn't put the toilet seat back down. He's like, I can do a million things right. But that one wrong thing, she tears me down. Mark then says, the feelings behind the anger could be lack of not being heard, which doesn't see her mom for very long. I take that out too. So yeah, he feels like he wants to walk away now. He's like, I'm going to go through this process because that's why they're here. Anyway, that is it for this episode. That is it for the first episode of Temptation Island. Tomorrow, I think, I think it's tomorrow or whatever the next episode is. I can't remember if it's coming up at the end of the week, whatever. But you should be, I believe, getting another episode tomorrow or Monday. So just look out for that. But that is it, guys. That is it for this episode. So if you like what you heard, please rate, review the podcast on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, don't forget that you can also share us with everyone in your life if you really love this. And I do want to read those reviews. I'm definitely getting 5-star ratings, but I want to read those reviews. So send me those reviews and I will read those 4 and 5-star reviews on the podcast. Also, we're on every one of your favorite podcast apps, every one of them, including you can find us on YouTube at Reality Tea Times 2. If you want to connect with us, you can do so by going to either Facebook or Instagram at Reality Tea Times 2. You can also find us on Twitter, TikTok, Reddit at Reality Tea Times 2 pod. We also have our email, which is at realityteatimes2 at hotmail.com. Definitely want to hear from you guys. And we also have our new website where you can listen to all of these episodes. You can review the podcast on there as well. You can connect with me in any way, all the stuff. It's all there, and you can find me there at www.realityteatimes2, all spelled out, .podpage.io. It's there. And don't forget, I also have my other podcast with my friend Mikkel, Next Take Podcast, where we talk about all kinds of different topics. But you can find us on any of your favorite podcast apps over there as well. Or you can also go to YouTube and you go to Next Take Podcast, as well as our website, which is solo.to/Next Take Podcast. So yeah, there's that, and that's basically that. And again, don't forget, if all of this information is overwhelming, we do have all of the links, everything in our show notes. But that is it for now, guys. Thanks. Bye.